Good morning. Can you see what the problem is? Yes, snow. Not a lot, but it shouldn't be capable of that at this point of the year. Anyway, so we are going to go for a drive through the Arctic conditions to East Sussex to stay in a little place there tonight.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
So here we are in Wakehurst. We've driven round. We weren't really expecting the weather to be quite so white, but we're here for the next couple of hours or until it gets too cold and we go and shelter in the mansion or whatever. For the time being, we're going to explore a bit. So we've had a bit of lunch and now we're set to explore the Winter Wonderland, which is slightly more wintry and wonderlandy than we'd originally anticipated. We've been diverted by path closures, so we're coming down into the valley here, going down this wintry path towards the lake at the very bottom. We're coming down towards the lake, which is, well, there's a shelter spot. You can hide in the woods. As you can see, the lake is quite brown, and this bit I think is closed around the back of the lake, so we're going to have to go around that side of the lake and see what all the fuss is about. The ducks have mostly abandoned it. Here we have some mushrooms that used to be at Kew. Presumably they put them on the back of a lorry and drove them down here. And then we have two enormous redwoods. This one has a sign on it, but it probably just says, yes, Sequoiadendron giganteum, giant redwood. Well, we reached the end, as much of an end as it is, because there's a lot of bits of here that are currently closed. So now we've turned around and we're taking another route back on the high ground. There's partridges everywhere. If you can't see them, you can hear them. And this is the bit in the middle, because Wakehurst is basically a donut shape, and the hole in the middle is it's quite a large farm, bizarrely, which you might just be able to make out between the trees. It's a big field there, and yes, there's the view down the hill. So we're almost back round to the mansion. This is the Pinetum, which is a pine arboretum, and the ground is very soggy. Just hear squelching and partridges. You can always hear partridges. We're back. We made it back to the house, past this very haunted looking tree. There is not a lot of people around today. There are a few crazy people like us, but people are generally staying close to where it's sheltered, which is quite sensible. So as you can probably see from the sign here, this is Bolney Wine Estate, which is the vineyard that supplies Kew with its wines, and Wakehurst therefore, because Wakehurst is literally next door. And here's some vines, although as you can see they are basically twigs at this point of the year and not much else. So this is the inside of the estate, cafe tasting room. This is Haywards Heath, where we've stopped to buy some provisions for tonight's meal. It's not too far from where we're staying, and then we're going to get in the car and drive around there next, once we've got chicken and peppers and oil and what have you. Welcome to our lodge. Here's our little kitchenette with fresh brownies and yogurts and juices in the fridge. A nice little shower room through here. And then this is our little bedroom cum living room. So here we are, Horsted Keynes. The sun has just set and we are heading down, this is called Chapel Lane, and because it goes past the chapel, and we're heading to the pub. That's the pub over there. That's where we're going. Does this go to the house? Or can we, oh, we can go through the garden. This is just a field behind the pub. Good morning. We are just packing up. You can see through the curtains that the snow has snowed in the car slightly. So we just need to marginally defrost ourselves before we head out to the bustling metropolis of Horsted Keynes railway station. There's our little lodge. That's where we're going to go, out onto the road again. That's the Horsted Keynes. Once the snow has been brushed from the windscreen and the car's woken up. So this winterscape that greets you is mid-March in East Sussex. There is the railway station. The chimney's going, and this used to be part of the Southern Railway that came out of East Grinstead and is now a hobbyist railway. Runs from East Grinstead down to here, and then from here one more stop to Sheffield Park, which is National Trust property, which is where we are going on the train, which runs once every 2 hours. This is the first service today that we're going to get. So here we are. This is the railway station with all the original advertising down the side. Trains are on the inside, which is where we're going to go momentarily. So we're on platform 3, waiting for the train to Sheffield Park, which is coming down the line shortly. We're not quite the only people, but there is one other group, 2 other people getting on this train. We don't know how many people will come down from East Grinstead. Maybe millions. The irony, of course, is that this is Southern Railways, and yet this is probably the most reliable part of Southern Railways, despite the fact it's run by hobbyists. Just waiting for the train to appear. You can hear it, you can't see it.
Passengers might be interested to know that at Sheffield Park, if you go to the restaurant, which is the main restaurant in the station, you go upstairs, they're serving 1950s refreshments. Replicate the 60th anniversary of the closure of this line. Upstairs to the restaurant upstairs, you'll find they're serving 1950s restaurant stuff, bits and pieces. Plus, of course, at Sheffield Park, you can also enjoy the main museum, that's number 2, and the shop, of course, and the main restaurant downstairs. What's the game?
the railway behind. It has many car parks and hundreds of people have attended. We're going to walk through this field of sheep to the Sheffield Park tea room. So here we are in Sheffield Park. It was a very cold walk through the field. Now we are, well, above one lake, which around sort of over there-ish. Quite something to it. A lot of the flowers have come out anyway, despite the winter. There's lots of daffodils, but they all look a little bit upset. They got snowed on this late in March. That is Sheffield Park House itself, which is now private, so we can't go in there. So we're heading back here to the entrance and tea room. Well, back at the station, Sheffield Park station, to take the train back to Horsted Keynes. That's where we're going. We've come into a classic little old carriage. You know, we've got the corridor down one side, and then you've got the little seating area. This is Sheffield Park station, where we were earlier. Tickets being inspected currently.
Number 3. Passengers going to line here for a 2 o'clock tour around the carriage and wagon department, which is the platform number 5, big green and yellow building, or at 2 o'clock we will also be showing the Digital Thunderbolt DVD in the cinema room here at platforms 1 and 2.
It's winter again, and you join us in the mud, heading for another vineyard. It turns out actually that Sheffield Park seems to have a vineyard of sorts, but we didn't actually get up to there. So at the end of this wood is the Kingscote Estate, which is a little vineyard around here, and it's where we're heading through the snow. We're now walking down the lane past the local partridges, and about to turn left here, go under the railway line to the vineyard, which I'm presuming, oh, it's quite a good bridge. I'm about to go into Birch Farm. That's straight on, is it? Yeah. So we're not allowed to go there. But Mill Place Farm, which is the vineyard, is down here. It's our ride from earlier. So this is the Thai farm, 15th century barn from Kent originally. This is the old house on the estate, which is really, really stunning, you can see. And this is where we were just wine tasting in the shop.
Yeah. It's always a mixture of modern and new.
Yeah, you can see the difference between some of the old things and then attach some more. What a shame they managed to. Yeah. Why don't they have all around?
Those are the vines up there on the hill that you can actually see. There we go, and then if I come around slowly, different temperature, this would be amazing. My shoes are covered in snow. It's not a traditional kind of environment for wine tasting. It's still good fun. We're going to wander back now through the woods, try and find the car, and sort of slowly head back to civilization. We are almost there. There's the car. It's poking its nose out. Our snowy walking is complete. Now we can enjoy some warm comforts on the way home, hopefully. We should be back not too late, because there's plenty going on this week, but it's all work, unfortunately. We're back. As you might be able to tell, it actually snowed last night. Just after we got back, it snowed quite heavily and everything was white this morning, but I'm very happy to report that it's almost all gone again and it's warming up. And when I go for my walk this afternoon, hopefully there won't be much left. It really is a very bad time to be a crocus in the United Kingdom. Never mind. I'm editing a video today and reading board papers and doing the same tomorrow when I've got a board meeting. And then what am I doing on Wednesday? Oh yeah, Wednesday I'm at USP. So for the time being, because it's Veggie Day and we're back, I'm going to go and buy some supplies. I haven't done almost any steps today, so that is going to have to be a job for this afternoon. Here for my steps. I'm going to try and be brief during my walkie time this week. Otherwise I'm aware it's just a monologue of me walking. I'm going to go do a bit of a lap, see if anything's changed since Friday. I mean, obviously there was snow and now there isn't, and it wasn't blue and now there is. Lots of blue, but other than that, I said it last time and I'm going to say it again. I hope I'm not tempting fate again this time, but that best be the last snow until winter comes back around at the end of the year. From now on we just want blue skies. Well, it probably needs a bit of rain now and again, but just not snow. Spring weather, that would be nice. Can you see that the river has broken its banks here? That is quite bad. I'd say about a third of Sarn Park's land is underwater, and high tide's not for another 8 minutes. And obviously it's on the inside of a bend, so that means the high water is essentially cutting across the land, which is making it even slightly worse, and there's a following wind. So that is going to be interesting. With the sun on it, you can really see how sparkly the top mast is. It's ever so shiny, which is excellent. Scaffolding is no lower than it was, but they're beginning to take the tarpaulin guards down around the side. Now that spring appears to be back, I need to go outside and get something to eat. Hopefully this afternoon I'm going to walk to RHP for my meeting at 4:30, seeing as I've done everything I need to do before then, which is quite surprising. Today's watch, what am I wearing? I am wearing my new black Mondaine Swiss Railways watch. I say new, I bought it second hand, on a red and black NATO strap. I mentioned we went to 2 vineyards at the weekend. We got wine from both. I'll have to show you that at another time, because right now I need to head out into the wild blue yonder and walk to RHP. So that I actually get there in time for my meeting at 4:30. So spring starts today, and that means that people say it is the first day of spring. And I suppose, without being overly pedantic, it is, in the same way that when it's your birthday, it's not actually your birthday until the time that you were born. And similarly is the case with spring. So I'll let you know when we get to that point. It hasn't happened yet, because it's a precise moment in time, because it's an astronomical phenomenon, so it can be measured precisely. Anyway, it feels like spring, and that's the most important thing, really. And it's the first day this year that I've been able to walk to a board meeting properly, so that is excellent. I'm going to make the most of it. This is East Sheen Common, which I got quite quickly actually. There's nobody about, which is quite helpful, and it's very pleasant. I'm going to take a slightly different route through the park, because obviously all the snow and various weathers recently means that it's probably quite muddy in certain places, so I'm going to try and go a slightly less muddy route. But they were doing a deer cull the other day, so that might limit my access a little. This all counts towards my steps, which are doing rather well. As always, donations and shares welcome of the link below. Thursday's going to be the most difficult, I would imagine, because I have to get up at a normal time, but then I have to go to bed super early so I can be back up and at work for midnight. So I don't quite know how that's going to work. I'm going to have to think about that carefully. It's going to be quite exhausting, this. This is the last full weekend of the steps, though, because it's March, so it ends just before Easter, and middle of the Easter weekend. And I think we're quite glad to get a couple of hours back at the end of it. But what it has taught me is that you can do 10,000 steps a day. It doesn't take a lot more effort, it just takes a bit of planning. And sometimes that means getting up a bit earlier and walking some of the stuff you would have taken public transport for, and other times it means, like, when you get home you've actually got to do a couple of thousand steps, going for a walk around the block and what have you. But it can be done, it will be done. Because of all the late snow we've had in the last, shut up Crow, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, it does mean that spring has kind of started and stopped and started and stopped, and that does actually mean a lot of things are behind where you'd expect them to be this time of year on their growing cycles. So there's a lot of leaves that haven't yet budded, and there's lots of flowers that aren't yet out, so it does feel a bit more wintry than it should. But I'm sure now that the good weather is here, and kind of consistently for the next 10-12 days at least, things will get a hurry on pretty sharpish. Now I'm doing this walk, I'm thinking I've done this walk before. But there we are, I have done various different iterations of this many times, so it never takes that long to get through the park, which is always quite surprising because it is enormous, but in a straight line, a good bit of power walking, you're there in no time. Now below me is Petersham, nice houses, and then beyond you can see Twickenham Rugby Stadium to the left of the tower blocks over there, which are in, I think they're in Hounslow, those ones, just about. The stadium actually sort of falls on the boundary of Hounslow and Richmond. It's, I think, half the stadium's in one and half's in the other actually. It's very odd. Anyhow, I'm going to admire the view from up here carefully as I go down this slightly muddy hill. I said I was going to tell you when spring started, didn't I? Not there yet. I've just been to my favourite German shop outside of Germany, which is Hansel and Pretzel in Ham, and I have currently some Almdudler and paprika crisps and unusual Haribo. Instead of golden bears, they got golden bunnies for Easter. Very nice, and it's excellent, and I'm feeling very good about the world. And I'm nearly at the other end, which is why I'm walking a bit slower, because it hasn't taken as long as I thought. So I'm sort of meandering towards Teddington Lock through this, which is Ham Common effectively. It runs all the way around the edge of Ham along the riverside. It's a very large piece of common ground. So you ready for it? Get ready. Spring starts now. There you go, I'm sure you can see the change. Good morning, happy Wednesday, happy spring. It's you know what the best thing about spring is? Other than, you know, it doesn't snow and all the blossoms come out and leaves start appearing on the trees. But other than that, the best thing is the clocks go forward, which they do Sunday morning. Usually you don't have to think about it much because you're asleep and all of your technology kind of just does what it's supposed to when you wake up. And yeah, you've lost an hour of sleep, but it doesn't really matter because you can lie in. It's Sunday. Well, I can't do that this Sunday because I'm working in the night. So it does mean I need to know exactly when the clocks go forward and that I do genuinely lose an hour's sleep because my sleep pattern's off completely. So I'll be very happy that the clocks have gone forward, but I won't really reap the benefit until Sunday night probably. But at least I remembered to actually cross the bridge today, so that's something. It's a life ring in the Thames. That's encouraging if you fall in. That should help. It'll be passing Hammersmith in about 15 minutes. We are 166 kilometres into this walkathon, which is 270,000 steps or thereabout, which seems like a lot. This is the end of the third week, so I've been doing this for 3 weeks and 10 days to go. And it's been quite an interesting challenge, but I will also be very glad come the 1st of April when I don't have to think, oh, I really need to do another 3,000 steps today. Plus it's the Easter weekend, and the day before we're babysitting for like a bazillion kids whose parents are going to a wedding. So if one set of exhaustion isn't enough, then the other set certainly will be. So the Easter weekend's only 10 days away, which is alarming. Although Easter is a little earlier this year, I guess, and that means lots more chocolate, although we haven't finished eating the Christmas chocolate yet. And that also means that we are remarkably close to my birthday, which has as always occupied literally no minutes of my time up until now. People will start asking me what I want for my birthday soon, and I don't have an answer, so I best do something about that. And that also means that we are just barely a month away from our first wedding anniversary, which is very exciting, and it's come around quite fast, and means that we're going on another mini break to the Cotswolds. So those are all very positive things, and they all happen after this weekend is finally out of the way. Also, it's the boat race this Saturday, which, after having finally managed to see it a couple of years ago, we've then failed spectacularly ever since, and we'll fail again this year. I say that, just thought about it. If I'm still awake on Saturday after qualifying, I guess we might see a bit of it through my sort of woozy, time deprived, through my kind of woozy, time deprived mind. Might see a little at the end by the finish line. That said, as it's Saturday morning, we might see a bit of it if we get up and go to the finish line after I've come back from qualifying. Although I'll be somewhat sleep deprived at that point, but it might still be fun. Another walk reaches its conclusion here in sunny Hammersmith. Very nice. Right, I need to go and make sure Formula 1 things work. I think they mostly do, actually, which is a pleasant relief. And then congratulate myself if they do. Hooray. Good morning. It's Thursday, so this is kind of the beginning of the end, and so much as my sleep pattern goes out of sync in about 6 or 7 hours. So for the time being, I'm trying to buy batteries for the filming project I have to do this morning before I then go to bed. But it's too early and nothing is open, so that is a complete fail. Oh. Right, okay, so I've got to pick up my stuff and get on a train and go to Barron's Court. I'm going to Hammersmith and Fulham College because somebody is filming some food judging things in their kitchens. That's until about lunchtime, and I have to come back, do my steps for the day, have dinner and go to bed by about 6ish. Then I'm going to be up again at sort of 11 o'clock to go to work. And yes, that is as terrible as it sounds. Look who's here again. So what are you doing here, Louie? Where have you got nowhere to go? You just thought you'd come and visit. You're always welcome. It's just a bit of a surprise, that's all. So I've been filming at the grocer own label judging this morning at Hammersmith and Fulham College, and yeah, that was just lots of food going backwards and forwards and me eating some of it, but I haven't had lunch properly and it is a weird day and I need to go to bed in like 4 hours, so this is very confusing for my brain. Plus, you know, now Louie's here to investigate the flat again because he obviously doesn't remember what it was like from 2 weeks ago. I've had lunch and I'm going for a walk. I'm going to do my last 3,000 steps for the day. Here's the link as always. And then I'm going to go home, watch some videos and go to bed. And then get up at sort of 10 o'clock. Oh, my brain is so confused. Anyway, so that's what's happening right now. This is much harder than normal walking because I really want to go to sleep. So that's where I'm going. I'm heading directly to my bed. So I'll see you tomorrow. Good evening. So yeah, it's not quite tomorrow yet. It is 10:30 at night and I'm going to work and my brain is already so confused and there's a couple more days of this nonsense. So that's going to be fun. First of all, we actually have to get there, and then I've got to meet a man called Brew. Hello there, good morning. So I worked from whenever I got in, which was like 11 o'clock, all the way through to about 6:30 in the morning, and got a cab and got home about... Actually, when did I get a cab? I didn't get a cab until about 7, because I got home about 7:30. And then I went to bed, and I've just got up about half an hour ago, which was about just before midday, and I'm now going to attempt to stay awake for a little bit and then go to sleep again this evening. So essentially I'm sleeping in 2 bits, 2 sort of 4-hour cycles, which I find a little bit more manageable. It means you don't throw your entire clock out of sync, but it means I should be able to recover a bit quicker on Monday, although we'll see. So it is Friday, it is the last day of the week. I've got to do a bit more walking. I did manage to do all the steps I'd intended to yesterday, which is reassuring. Today and Saturday are the last quirky days, and then it should be reasonably straightforward next week. We'll just wait and see. For the time being, I need to have a meal. I'm not sure which meal this is, but I'm going to have one anyway. So before I go out for a walk, I thought I'd do the word of the week, because otherwise I'll forget. And the word of the week is going to be the thing that I'm most deprived of at the moment, which is sleep. So first of all, sleep can be obviously a verb or a noun. So as a noun, as in the sleep, I need some sleep. First of all, in German, sleep is der Schlaf. Der Schlaf is the sleep. And if you want to say I sleep or I'm sleeping, you say ich schlafe. Ich schlafe. Okay? In Italian, sleep is a slightly odd word. It has lots of different iterations, and it's reflexive, if you know what that means grammatically. So first of all, the sleep is il sonno. Il sonno is the sleep. But if you wanted to say I sleep, you'd say io dormo. Io dormo. And incidentally, that's not the same if you want to say I am sleeping. So there's a bit of confusion there. But there we go. That is the word of the week, which is sleep. And now we need to go for a little stroll. What a nice end to the week. Apart from all the getting up. It's a very pleasant day. The fact that I'm slightly sort of sleep deprived and shell shocked is a small price to pay. the crocuses are finally over after, you know, repeated snowing-ins has killed them off for good, but the daffodils are doing okay. There's a bit more pagoda exposed. You can now see the roof. Such a tease, this pagoda, it's unbelievable. But still, I'm an absolute sucker. I'm so excited every time I see one more floor. Like, ooh! 2 months till that opens. Just over 1 month until the temporary house opens. Get ready, spring's happening. You can nearly make out the dragons on the end there. It's a bit too much scaffolding and it's a bit too far away. But I'll come back with a long lens at the start of next week, or whenever the sun comes out next. I am going to leave it there for the time being, because I realise it has been quite a long vlog with all the good fun that we had in East Sussex at the start of the week. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. It's very simple. Just click the subscribe button. That's all there is to do. Ever so simple. And then I will see you next week.
Toby Stupid Vlog.